Hello. I popped a video up about a fortnight ago about square foot bucket gardening, and I showed you some of the stuff that I still had in buckets from last year. Done absolutely nothing with it, just left it outdoors, and that's going to be part of my square foot bucket garden again this year. Now let me show you this screen grab. This is a screen grab of what the mint looked like. Okay, let's see if that mint has come on much in the last 2 weeks. Let's have a look at it. What do you think? Think it's growing, don't you? Yep, I think the mint's growing, and this is something, once you've got it, unless you actually throw it out, you've got it forever. Mint, it just grows and grows and grows. When it gets too big, take it out of the bucket, split it with a spade, throw half of it in the bin, plant the other half. That keeps it vigorous. Okay. Chives. Check these chives out. This is what they looked like 2 weeks ago. Hey, come on. Hey, come on. These guys have took off, haven't they? Wow, look at that. These chives have even got flower buds. Yep. And chives, like mint, just stand it out. It grows year after year after year. Once you've got chives, you've got chives. Not much more to say about that. And I showed you 2 weeks ago some wild strawberries that I had in my square foot bucket garden last year. They were looking a bit moth-eaten, some of the foliage was dying back. But hey, let me show you this. But before I show you this, take a look at that. Okay, now this is the strawberries now. Hey, how about that? We've even got the odd flower, look. And it's really cold outdoors. We've even got the odd flower. So that's good. So I'm pleased with those three. Those three are coming on very nicely. These are some onions that I'm going to be putting in my square foot bucket garden this year. These are winter onions. These were planted in the autumn of last year. So these have been outdoors through autumn, winter, and now into spring. When the weather did get a bit bad, I must admit I actually brought these guys into the greenhouse, because we've been through 2 storms, as you know, here in the UK, and we've had some serious wind, and these would have just got flattened. So I popped these in the greenhouse, but they are actually outdoors now, and they've been outdoors for the last 2 or 3 weeks. This is my celery. 4 heads of celery in this 10-inch water bucket. I've done this before. I've grown these. I grew these in the square foot bucket garden last year. Doesn't seem to be a lot of room in there, but hey, these guys will find the room. 4 heads of celery in a 10-inch water bucket. These are my carrots. As you can see, they're not through yet. It's just still too cold here for the seeds to germinate. I think the seeds have been in this bucket for about a week. I'll give you some advice about carrots now. If you've never grown them before, when you sow carrot seeds, watch one of my videos. You'll see how I use a grid pattern to sow the carrots thinly. But what I was going to say was, don't think you're going to see these carrots growing in a couple of days. They might not even be showing through in a couple of weeks. I think the packet says 2 to 3 weeks. So when you sow them, you can keep your bucket indoors because the seeds don't need light. It's the carrot seedling that needs light, and then as soon as they come through, get them in the light. So you can keep them somewhere a wee bit warmer than they would be outdoors. As soon as you see the carrots, bring them out. But you've heard that old saying, a watched kettle never boils, haven't you? Well, a watched pot of carrots never germinates. Stop watching them. Have a glance every now and again. As soon as you see them, get them out in the light. Just don't let them dry out. And they don't need a lot of water at this stage. They do not. That's carrots. These are spring onions, or bunching onions, or green onions. Depends what you want to call them. But this is the bit you're going to eat. And they're looking okay, aren't they? They should do okay in that square foot bucket garden. So that's spring onions, green onions, bunching onions. You know what these are, don't you? These are your bog standard shallot. And the reason I'm calling them bog standard is because I'm going to show you some fancy shallots later in a bucket that don't look like these. Okay, so these shallots will grow on and divide off, and I've had, I think it was from 4 shallots, I think I harvested 20 shallots. Don't believe me? Watch the video. There's videos on the channel. HGV, how to grow shallots start to finish. Something like that. You'll find those shallots. You'll find me harvesting them. You'll see what came out of one of these buckets. And I actually think I may have used shallots from the grocery counter, from the vegetable counter. I don't think they were the shallots you would buy to grow on. I think they were the shallots you would buy to eat. And I planted them. If you got some, you may want to give this a go. 4 shallots in a bucket, you may just get 20 back. These are some swedes I've got going. They don't look too good, to be honest. They're falling over. They may pick up, they may not. But what I'll do is, if they don't pick up, I'll just sow some more seeds in here. You might be able to see that's a seedling coming through, and that's a seedling coming through. So if these bigger guys don't make it, we'll pull them out. We'll keep sowing and sowing until we get some swedes growing in this bucket. I've never grown swedes before, certainly not in a bucket. So that's something new for this year. These are my parsnips. You remember I germinated these seeds indoors and then just rolled the seed into the holes. They're sitting on a column of finer material. I put a core down there, didn't I? Can you remember that? And I filled that core and I sowed these above the core. Well, those are the 4 parsnips. I've grown those in buckets before. These aren't tall, these buckets. They're only 10 inches tall, and you'd think that they're perhaps not deep enough. But yeah, you get decent parsnips out of these small buckets. If you want to give that a go, I would recommend it. Well, these are my lettuce. Eaten off, eaten off, eaten off, starting to be chewed. There's a couple of slugs in here somewhere. In fact, I threw one out just before when I was preparing to make this video. So I've got a couple of slugs paying me a visit. I'm going to need to do something about that. But you can definitely grow lettuce in these 10-inch water buckets. You can definitely do that. This will be part of my square foot bucket garden this year. Okay, now you might be wondering how many more of these buckets there are. Well, after this one there's another 4, and that'll make 16 buckets, and that'll give me a grid pattern, 4 buckets by 4 buckets, and that'll stand in an area 4 foot by 4 foot. There's your bucket garden. It's not a bucket garden at the moment because those sweeds and those parsnips and the lettuce, if I put those outdoors, the wind will just take the tops right off them. So I haven't actually put the bucket garden together yet, but once the weather picks up, I'll put the bucket garden together just as I did last year. Right, what we got here? Oh, these are leeks. These are leeks. I don't know how many leeks there are in here. There looks to be, see if I can do a quick count, 2, 4, 6. I think there are 8 leeks in there. That's a lot of leek for a small 10-inch bucket, but I have actually grown 10 leeks in one of these buckets before. There's a video on the channel. If you search on something like 10 leeks bucket, homegrown veg, something like that, you'll find that. Now they were nice size leeks. They were good kitchen size leeks. They wouldn't win a show, but they'd make some nice cock-a-leeky soup providing you've got a piece of chicken. Okay, let me put this to one side and we'll do the last 4. These are my beetroot. I had beetroot in this 10-inch water bucket. I've grown these guys before. I've had beetroot out of water buckets about the same size as a cricket ball. Hey, how big do you want your beetroots? And the other thing you can do, of course, is you can take them much smaller, can't you? If you want a small beetroot, at some stage there'll be one in your bucket, take it. Take it. If you want to wait till it get bigger, wait till it get bigger. Your choice. Hey, look at this guy. Look at this guy. Did you see that video that I posted a few days ago about fast start potatoes and how to pot them up? Did you see that? That fast start potato, how many days ago was it? I can't remember now, but this was buried. That was under the soil. Look at it. Look at it. It's a potato called Vivaldi. Vivaldi's having a go. Now this guy and those beetroot, this potato and those beetroot are still in this greenhouse. The wind would just take the tops off the beetroot. I'm still a wee bit worried about the wind and maybe even a frost here in the UK yet for potatoes. So we'll leave this one in here for a little longer. And as soon as I think that danger's over, this potato will go outdoors. But this is one of those fast start potatoes. So many days ago it went into this bucket and it was covered. It was covered. It's on the video. These are those fancy shallots I told you about. This is a shallot called Zeebroon, variously known as a banana shallot or a chicken leg shallot, because I guess when they grow they look like a banana, that sort of shape, or they look like a chicken leg, they look like a chicken drumstick. These shallots are started from seed. They are not started from other shallots. I fell for that one some time ago. I posted a video. I got some shop bought chicken leg shallots and tried to grow them on. Total failure. There's a video on the channel. I mean, I could have taken it down, but if you make mistakes, believe you've got to show your mistakes, have you not? Nobody's infallible. And also show your successes. I mean, that's what gardening's about, isn't it? It's having successes. But yeah, show your failures, show your successes. Right, last one, you'll be glad to hear. Go on, have a guess. You're a gardener, have a guess. What are they? A bit of guess. 4 garlic. These are garlic cloves, and for those of you that have never grown garlic before, and those of you that have, be patient. If you buy a garlic bulb, that bulb is made up of maybe 10 or a dozen cloves. If you break it open, you get a clove. Each one of these is grown from a clove. Not a garlic bulb. And each one of these will develop a garlic bulb on the bottom. And if each of those garlic bulbs has, say, 10 garlic cloves, it's a bit of wishful thinking here, 10 garlic cloves, 4 garlic plants could produce 4 garlic bulbs, could produce 40 garlic cloves. Whoa, you've got to give this a go. You've got to give this a go. What have you got to lose? 4 garlic cloves. Have you got any in the fridge? It might be a bit late now, actually. Might be a bit late in the year. But all you're going to lose is 4 garlic cloves, isn't it? That's all you're going to lose. Right, let me put this to one side. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed this video today. It's early doors in terms of gardening here in the UK. We need the weather to warm up, really. We need the weather to warm up. We're all under lockdown. We're all self-isolating. We're in our gardens. We're doing what we can. We need to be careful that we don't try and jump the gun on the growing season, otherwise things will just die off because it's too cold. So we need to be aware of that. But we need to stay safe. And I think I may have said this on previous videos. The virus is outside the fence. The virus isn't on this side of the fence. Stay on this side of the fence. Stay on your side of the fence in your garden. Stay safe. And hey, good growing. Hope you have a good growing season. And I hope in 4 or 5 months' time we're actually harvesting some vegetables. We're eating our own home-grown veg. This is Homegrown Veg, signing out.